All right, let's take a look at these two photos. It's Leonardo DiCaprio and actor Matthew McConaughey. Now, what we know is that both are starring in a controversial movie shooting in New York City called The Wolf of Wall Street, an adaptation of that best-selling book. Now, there are two stories coming out of this teaming. The first story is reports that Leonardo DiCaprio will bear it all for some really explicit sex scenes. Joining us from New York City, Celeb Buzz film editor Todd Phillips. Todd, this is another Leo and Martin Scorsese duel. Who is Leo playing in this film, and why is the content of this movie so racy?
Well, the character that he plays is based on a real person named Jordan Belfort, and he went to jail for running a boiler room and for securities fraud. But during his heyday, he actually was able to. He was so successful that he actually had all kinds of crazy orgies, and there's lots of drug use and all these other things, all of which I think will be depicted very honestly and probably graphically in the film.
This is not the first time Leo's given us the full Monty. He was nude in Revolutionary Road, so he stripped before, but from reports, this movie says that Leo's going to take it to a whole new level. Todd, there are also counter reports saying that he won't. What do we know?
Well, right now there have definitely, as you said, there have been reports that that the film will depict some of these acts. I'd be surprised if there was anything that was, say, as explicit as what is supposed to be happening in Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac with Shia LaBeouf. But I do think that, you know, his commitment to working with Scorsese and their past history has shown that he's, you know, willing to do whatever it takes for a role. And so it remains to be seen exactly how graphic they'll be. But I also think that Martin Scorsese himself is not necessarily a filmmaker who I think relishes the opportunity to show a lot of graphic sex and nudity. So I think it's going to be an intense film, but I don't think it's going to be one that's overly sexually graphic.
Now on to Leo's co-star, Matthew McConaughey, and his extreme weight loss. Joining us via phone from Los Angeles is celebrity nutritionist and fitness expert JJ Virgin. JJ, great to have you on the show. We're looking at photos now on the screen. On the left that we can see, we have a shot of Matthew from 2010. He's looking very fit and healthy. And on the right, a picture from this month where he's looking very thin indeed. Indeed, Matthew told ABC News that he'd lost 30 pounds as a result of a cleanse. How does one do that?
Well, you know, you see this a lot with actors. They have to gain weight or lose weight for a role. And there's actually safe ways to do this. Unfortunately, I never see them do it that way. So for most people, when they do that and they go and get emaciated, they end up losing a lot of muscle. So let's say you go on one of these cleanses that are pretty dangerous where you're just doing juice and not giving your body the protein it needs to hold on to muscle. We know muscle weighs more than fat. So if you need to drop a lot of weight quickly, if you go and do a juice fast and really lower your calories, you're going to lose muscle and start looking gaunt and emaciated.
Is there any other way? I mean, actors do this all the time where they have to either bulk up or lose weight for roles. Is there a healthy way to do it, or is he doing what's only available to him?
There's actually a very healthy way to do it. It's funny because we know that the only way to extend lifespan is to eat less but do it with optimal nutrition. I actually helped when the actors in Rent, when one of them had to look like he was dying from AIDS and still dance, we had to make sure that we were doing this healthy. So what you do is you make sure you keep clean, lean protein up because it's very thermic. It actually helps you burn more calories. So they eat protein every 4 hours and take a good multivitamin, mineral, and antioxidant and essential fatty acid supplement and then start to really lower calories. But if you don't eat enough, remember, you're going to slow down metabolism. So it's getting the thermic effects of protein and actually coconut oil helps your body burn fat, so it's very thermic too. And then getting optimal nutrition along with it allows you to start to shed weight, because you really want to shed fat, not muscle, as much as possible. So it allows you to shed weight. Also, if you stop eating foods your body reacts to, like gluten and dairy and soy and corn and peanuts, and you stop eating high glycemic foods, that helps get rid of a lot of the excess inflammation and water weight.
Now we know, as I said, Matthew's losing the weight for this role. In the film, he's actually playing a real-life Texas man who is suffering from AIDS. Now, Matthew told Us Weekly, quote, "I'm playing a guy who was sick and would have loved to have been healthier, but wasn't. For For me, it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing. I'll get down to the weight I need to get to. I'm on my way, and it's what I need to do for the job. First of all, Todd, tell us about the role that he's playing in this film.
Well, like you said, he's playing a character who lost weight because he was diagnosed with full-blown AIDS in 1986, and the film is about the world of underground pharmacies that supply HIV drugs that are not approved for use in the U.S. In terms of his commitment to the role, I mean, he's really had such an amazing year thus far. Even if we just looked at, say, the past 2 months with Killer Joe and Magic Mike, in terms of him really transforming himself, standing out, or maybe not even transforming himself as much as just sort of really stealing these moments in these films, playing these characters that are kind of larger than life. And I think this is sort of, as he has rekindled his creativity and really sort of reclaimed his stature on the big screen, I think this is just another facet of his career in the sense of saying, you know, not only can I be the all right guy who can change by a matter of degrees for Magic Mike, I'm still a serious actor who can physically and emotionally and intellectually transform himself for a role.
And these kind of drastic transformations ultimately are looked upon favourably when it comes to the Oscars, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at, Christian Bale won, I think it was 2 years ago, for The Fighter, and you know, he certainly had lost a lot of weight for that. I mean, you look at people like Robert De Niro, who he had put on weight actually for his role in The Raging Bull. But you also have, you know, people like Matt Damon in Courage Under Fire, who was widely recognized, at least critically, for his transformation in the Ed Zwick movie Courage Under Fire. And then you have these other performances, Tom Hanks in Castaway, where you're really watching these people transform themselves to give the movie what it needs. And as a result, I think that Hollywood, I think critics, and I think that, you know, the Voting Academy and the Golden Globes are eager to recognize that kind of work.
I love the book, The Wolf of Wall Street. Certainly looking forward to the big screen adaptation. Thank you to our Celeb Buzz film editor, Todd Gilchrist, and on the phone, celebrity fitness expert, JJ Virgin. Thanks, guys. All right.
Thank you.
And joining the discussion on Twitter is you. You can talk about Matthew's transformation by using the hashtag #TheDailyBuzz. That's our show for today. It's been jam-packed. We'll see you here on Tuesday after the long weekend. Take care.